Hello, 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 and welcome to the commentary zone. As you enter the room, please don't forget to give us a little thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, tell a friend. On the docket today, we have My Big Fat Fabulous Life, Season 11, Episode 9, My Big Fat Vacation Proposal. Okay.
Stupid. Just stupid.
Before we get into the stupidity, thank you so much for all of our new subscribers and our new member. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, let's get to the stupidity.
I mean, there's not much to say here. Um, I will give credit where credit is due.
Mhm.
Whitney did do a good job with Glenn when she found that he was at the visiting Babs. The plaque to come in. So okay, that makes sense.
Mhm.
I would want to be there to see the plaque too. Just make sure everything was perfect. Make sure everything was in order. I like that, and I like the fact that Whitney understood this wasn't about her; that this was about Glenn. This is about Glenn and Babs, and she didn't overwhelm the scene. She was actually supporting her dad. I was like, finally, sheesh.
Until she started crying.
Yeah,
And did you see the plaque though? America's mom, loved by millions, something. I was like, um, for me personally, if my mother was Babs, I would not have put that on there because that to me
no,
was not Babs. This was a very
no,
small portion of her life.
right,
And yet, not America's mother, the matriarch of our family. I would have put that down. Beloved by all. I wouldn't have said by millions around the world. Some like that plaque was, it was weird. It was so showbiz focused.
yeah. It took away.
But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. And the only reason why I'm thinking like that is because I have to start thinking about stuff like that for my mom. And I know what I would and wouldn't put on a plaque for her marker. And although she's not on a TV show, I still wouldn't have put that down. If she was a lifelong actress, then yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. But one, she's not actress, and two, they only been doing this for like I don't know. There was so much more to Babs than this show.
Here's the why when I briefly saw the plaque, very briefly. I listened.
Mm.
I'm like, I know what you look like. I don't need to see her. But when I saw it, I was like, here's the thing though. I don't think that's something Glenn would have made.
Yeah,
Does that
but
make
that's his wife. He wouldn't give her approval on
he would
that.
he that's why I think for me, that's not the real plaque.
You think it's a dummy plaque?
Yes,
Shut up. I like that though. I like
because
that.
Babs is not like that. Babs and Glenn aren't like that.
Mhm.
They're not showy, flashy, braggadocious people.
Mhm.
That's something I think Whitney had made. I really do.
Oh my god. Natalie said Hunter really tried to impress us with his acting skills.
If that wasn't great value, Atticus Finch, I don't know what was.
I was even thinking, remember, oh my God, he was Andy Griffith. His name was Andy Griffith. Matlock.
Oh, Matlock.
That's what I saw stroll in there. Matlock. Rumpled, disheveled, but looking like a pile of poo. Gross. Gross. But anyhow, it was much more entertaining than Brokeback Camel, because that was ridiculous. I'm glad he picked Switzerland. Once again, Wit adding too much. I agree. I'm surprised she didn't add tune. She didn't add tune into. Oh my God, she couldn't, Tracy. No, that would be so reprehensible. But would she do it? Probably. I don't give her any credit at all. Hey, Farmata, welcome. Let's see. I was emotional myself and I didn't even read the plaque. I was emotional too until I had to go back and do the thumbnail, and that's when I started reading the plaque because I was on my computer and it was super, super early this morning. And I was just like, wait, what did that say? Because the first thing I caught was America's Mom. And that's when I had to rewind it. And I was just like, oh, how disappointing. Well, I hope it's not the real plaque. I hope so. Hello everybody in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. Hi Sunway. Hi Auntie. Hi Natalie. Hi Susan. Hi Tracy. Farmata. I think I've got everybody. Hi Michelle. Alrighty. So, how do we want to dive into this?
I'll let you shoot because
Um,
this is stupid.
let's just go give a brief synopsis. So, in this episode, Whitney gets back from her staycation at that rental house with the cold pool that she had for her birthday. Lenny is working, and her father is missing. She tracks him down via GPS over to the cemetery. Glenn wanted to go into the mausoleum to see Babs and the new marker, the plaque,
Hmm.
but he got scared and was sitting down outside. Whitney finds him. They go in together. They kiss the the marker, not the marker, but her little area. And they say they miss her and they leave. So that was a semi sweet part. Um, After the mausoleum, Whitney brings Glenn back home. She's cooking a spaghetti dinner, but I would not eat from Whitney Way Thor. Period. Um, Hunter's coming over, and they're going to discuss Glenn's bucket list. She gives them the highlights of her date with Rishi. I don't know why we even calling that a date. That was a call time, and that was about it. Um, Whitney, Jesus, I don't even want to talk about her cooking or teaching him hip vocabulary or whatever. It's just stupid. Um, I did. Hunter did say something in here that was interesting. He spoke about Whitney's manipulation of their father. Good on
Hmm.
you, Hunter, for noticing that. She blabbers on about some alien abduction and some metal
That was
probe inside of a
stupid.
fat foal. I was like, why? But Hunter was right. She's like, I know I was abducted. And he said, and they brought you right back.
Exactly. I hollered.
Wow.
I'm like, Hunter don't care anymore either. And here's my
Mm-hmm.
whole thing. This is my suspicion. My suspicion is that Hunter would want to go in on Whitney, but his parents, especially Babs, would be like, "No, don't do that. That's your little sister. You have to look
Mm-hmm.
out for her. You need to build her up. Blah blah blah. This and that, right?" But now Babs is gone, and Glenn is kind of working through his
Mm-hmm.
issues.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get himself right. I'm just like, okay, now I can really go in on you. And I have a feeling it was more Babs than Glenn because even Glenn's talking about he's sick of her. I think Babs was the
Well,
one who placated to Whitney the most. I really do.
well, Babs is kind of responsible for Whitney being Whitney.
Mm.
Because Glenn was like an hour and a half away working.
Fair.
Mm.
That's no,
So,
that's completely fair.
yep.
That's completely fair.
Um, so yeah, he mentions the manipulation. Then Whitney brings up the family tattoo that she claims Angie wants to get. Um,
We don't believe that. We none of us believe that, right? Like none of us, right? None of us
well,
believe that, right?
Glenn doesn't because Glenn is like, so she's claiming Angie wants it, but whatever. But he's lived what 77 years and he ain't got
Right.
no tattoos, so he don't see why he should get any now. And I'm not sure why. she wants to force him to get it. Why can't the, as she claimed, the spawn just get it and he could look at y'all?
Right.
Like I feel like there's a lack of like respect for Glenn's autonomy with regards to Whitney. But okay, girl, you do you. Then we see Whitney talking to Tal at the gym, and of course she's gonna
Waste.
but again regurgitating the same fucking shit that we done heard 2 episodes now. She has to do it with everybody that she sees because she does it with Jessica and Isaiah later, and y'all need to do better. Y'all need to do better with the editing of this show because the first time we're hearing about Whitney's life, it isn't that interesting. And we don't need to hear her repeat it to each and every one of her purchased friends. That's just my opinion.
Okay, let's
Um,
let's call a thing a thing. All right. And
mm,
like I said, Tall has a 3 scene contract with Whitney's
mm,
show. He was out with Babs's funeral. He was in a quick segment somewhere in there. I don't remember, don't care. And now he's fulfilled
mm,
scene number 3, so now he can go on because there's no way. If you're like such a good friends and on good terms, and you live
mm,
even closer to her now, there's no reason y'all can't meet up for coffee on a Saturday morning. I'm sorry.
mm.
There's no y'all not friends. You're mad at her for some reason right now. Y'all sick of her. She's and now she got the family dolphin to exploit. She don't need you.
Well, even he says at one point, he understands what Whitney is doing, and this year, above all years, with Babs dying, and he says, do not try to manipulate Glenn with regards to the
Mm-hmm.
family trip. So this must have been his final appearance for the season.
Yes.
Wow. And then Whitney says, at one point during this episode, I can hear my biological clock. Really? You probably the
Okay.
only one.
Okay, we're gonna stop right here. We're gonna talk about this. Whitney, baby cakes, honey pie kins. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. You've been hearing your biological clock for the last 5 or 6 seasons. You talk about said clock every 5 or 6 seasons, which part of me wants to say like you probably knew about your sister because otherwise you'd have got off the pot a long time ago if you wanted kids. Just throwing it out there. Tinfoil hat time, damn it. She gets
Mm-mm.
on my nerves with this clock. I mean, she's what, 39 now? Or is she 40?
Yeah, well, on the show she's 39. I guess
Okay,
she's 40.
okay.
I don't
So,
know.
your clock's been ticking for like since you were like 34, 35. You've been talking about said clock and you've done nothing. Like, Zippo. I mean, okay, let me take it back. You gave us some fake scenes for your show by going to these doctors' offices and all that
Thank
stuff.
you, Auntie. See
Thanks,
you
Auntie.
later.
You know what I mean? You've given us some fake scenes, like you're doing something, but
Mm-hmm.
you've done nothing. Because most um women, I do watch some shows about this just to get a grasp on like what women really go through.
Mm-hmm.
So most women in her stage, when you're 39, I think at this point most women either have made the decision to adopt or they've already had the children they're going to have. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see too many women her age. I hear my biological clock talking about like they're going to do something. No, ma'am. Mm-mm.
Or
You're
they get
not.
caught with those oopsie kids.
Yeah, right,
Mm-hmm. Because this is the time you slacking off thinking, oh, I'm going into that change, and you get caught out there with a oopsie kid.
right. And my thing is when you're 39, so yeah, you might hear the clock, but I think it should be getting kind of duller because the older you get, the more
There
high
is no
risk.
clock with her medical conditions. Unless she got her Apple Watch to do TikTok, TikTok, TikTok sounds, there is no clock for Whitney.
Hmm.
There's no clock for Whitney because if she has PCOS, she more than likely is not having a period. If she was 400 to 300 pounds, she is most likely not having a period. I know she says she
Mm,
had one down in Dolphin Island,
mm-hmm.
but those are not regular periods like a normal like menstrual cycle every 28 days or 28 30 days. That's not it. That's not, she cannot have that with what she claims to
Mm-hmm.
have.
I got you.
Now with the 85-pound loss, I'm sure that her cycle would kick in, but at her age, and still I feel she has other medical issues that are not being disclosed on this show. I find it hard to believe that there would be any fruitful byproduct of a menstrual,
Mm-hmm.
of a menstrual cycle, or of, and I mean the entire cycle, not just the period itself, but the ovulation part, eggs
Right.
dropping, all of that. I don't think that's a viable cycle. And just speaking as someone who has had fertility issues, I just don't. I just don't. Um, and it was around that age. Actually, I was 40 when I went to go and investigate what was possible to find out that nothing was possible.
Mm,
So, therefore, I was just like, well, okay, there goes that. Decision made. Wish I'd known this 20 years ago.
right.
But again, this is just my opinion based on what I've seen and my own medical background and history on fertility. But okay, Whitney, if you want us to believe otherwise, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Go ahead, girl.
And here's the whole thing with Whitney, and of course, I'm speaking as a male who's talked to women about this. I'm just curious, like what they actually go through. So one thing I do know, a couple years ago, like actually 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
she was in that same stage of wanting children, but in her situation, she was going to be 35, and her concern was that to try to get pregnant the natural way. What happens if it fails and it doesn't work and this and that, right? So what she and her husband did, they did something, but they went to the doctor, did all their appointments, and what they just went and did was they just had two embryos implanted, and it was done. It was
Mm-hmm.
there was no they went and saw all the specialists they needed to see, and
Mm-hmm.
made a decision. It wasn't none of this like, oh, this is what I want to do, and like I hear my
Mm-hmm.
clock ticking. Old girl heard the clock. She's like, I got limited time, and she's like, I'm not trying to have any high risk pregnancy. And I'm like, when I think of people like that who just know where they are and what they really want, you make the decision, you go. You don't do season after season. And key word, season after season. This is just a paycheck for you. This is part of your storyline because you ain't got shit else but Goosey. And even she ain't trying to deal with you like that no more.
Drinking out the toilet. Oh, God.
Child.
If that's the content that you presented to us, cancel this
Mm-hmm.
show. Um,
Goosey is all she has.
yeah, basically those are her babies.
Which is fine, but I'm not understanding why don't you just say I don't want to have children?
True.
It's
True.
we're 2023 going to 2024. Just say you don't want to have children and move on.
Yeah. But she gonna sit there and say, "Thank God that her father found his other daughter because at least he can experience, um, you know, grandchildren and great grandchildren through them." Huh? I'm beginning to think that that's a little slight, kind of like Alabama. I'm like, maybe I'm just seeing too much into it. She just irritates the snot out of me. Next, we see Glenn, Whitney, and Jessica and Isaiah. They give them their photos in the photo album. The photos come out cute. Thank God somebody cut Jessica's hair because it looks like it was been deep conditioned. It looks a wee bit healthier. Wish she had had that hair for the photo shoot, but I digress. Um, what else? She regurgitates, I think, the date or something back with Jess. Oh, Jessica announced that her and Isaiah are actively looking for one of their friends that they hate a whole lot to hook them up with this Jabba the Hutt.
Uh, Debbie, be nice.
That was nice. And I don't know if anyone caught this, but Jessica's laughter, it just rings so insincere to me. So insincere.
Jessica just did keep a check on again. Her and Isaiah trying to get a house, so she gonna do what she gonna do. What she gotta do. She's not losing. She's not losing this extra paycheck.
I don't know. It was
How much?
just
Like I said,
painful for
how
me.
much you would have bet as soon as they close on their house?
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna see Isaiah and Jessica around no more.
At least you can
Jensen.
experience a normal family. How about that? I'm with you 100 on the hair. Oh Lord, yeah, the hair is just too much for me. Looking like Smurfette rolling up in there. Whatever. Then she has to bombard us with the fetish freaks that keep on coming at her on the app, the Romanian shrimp peeler, and then we have to get a description of the people who are feeders and eaters. And girl, you know you both. I,
Let's talk about this real quick. Real quick. Whitney, I'm gonna tell you what the issue is, and I'm gonna give you credit. You're partially right.
mm,
Yes, there are people who do fetishize bigger women, feeder. I get that. You're not wrong. But here's another
mm-hmm,
part that you need to think about. How you see yourself is what you're projecting and what you will
mm-hmm,
attract. So the fact that your mind goes to that first, like, oh, if someone's interested in me and wants to talk about food because we're at dinner, they're a
mm-hmm,
feeder. You're projecting that onto other people. That is your own mind doing that to you.
mm-hmm.
Because why would your mind go there first if you don't see yourself in that way? So, ma'am, again, huge fan of therapy. Huge fan. Go get you some because you should not be using your show as a therapy session. Because that's what it is. If you really look at her show as a whole, this is one big therapy session for her. Go to a real therapist and talk about all of your issues and get them out to someone who can actually help you.
Or
But
someone
when
who
she said,
cares.
we gotta start with help. We gotta start with help first. We gotta start with help first. We can't go. Care
Mm-mm.
comes later. Care's for family. So when she said that, I'm like, see, you're putting yourself in a victim state, and that's not the case. Yes, there are people. Like I said, I agree with you partially, but the fact that you see yourself in this way, you're probably projecting that out, and you just Like I said before, you're just attracting that kind of person. Not everyone who wants to take you out to dinner, you know, is a feeder. Now, if he wants to take you to like a cute little golden corral, yes.
I don't do Golden Corral. Someone took me there once and I turned around and walked out because you know why? It smelled like an institutional's cafeteria. Sorry.
Say it.
Uh-uh. Now, I don't do I don't eat at any place called corral in the name. I don't do it. And you can call me bougie all you want. I'm just not.
Nothing but
Just
corral.
not. Because you know what? I feel like you calling me a horse or a pig, something that eat out of a trough, and I'm not doing it. So, like I don't even eat at Olive Garden. I don't eat at
Uh,
franchise places unless it's McDonald's. So, we're not going to Golden Corral. You could take her to Golden Corral.
that's what I'm saying. Like if they're taking you to like a buffet, then you might want to have some concern because just because they want to talk to you about food, like okay, what kind of food do you like? I know this great place, stuff like that, stuff like that.
Okay,
Just
so
saying.
wait. Tracy says, I need a house too. I'm going to move there and join the cast. I can be a fake friend for about 6 to 12 months, but don't forget, all of her friends are become drug addicts. So reevaluate that, Tracy. Reevaluate that. Every single one of them had problems,
Hmm. And you
including
go,
the counselor, Tal. Ain't he had a problem too?
I'm not sure. I don't pay
Uh
attention to
huh.
him.
Uh huh. All right. So next we see Glenn sneaking away to call Angie for his weekly call on
I
FaceTime
can't
with
stand
her.
you. Not sneak away. Not sneak away. I can't stand you.
You know it's true. So he hiding away, talking real quiet. And Angie, with whatever money that this bitch breaks off to you, parlay it with TLC when you do the new show with Glenn when he ran away from his other children to come and live with you in Alabama so that you could get your teeth fixed. And that's all I took away from that conversation.
Nothing.
Oh my God. Tracy said, I'm not that bougie. I'm going what time? We could do better. We could do better than Golden Corral. We could leave Whitney there with the rest of the farm animals. All right, so the next scene was highly repulsive to me because she was making like nasty sounds that sounded like something else because somebody was rubbing her fat foot.
Yeah, no.
I hate when she does this. This suggestive, this subliminal, it isn't even subliminal. It's overt suggestion that just turns out to be a wet fart. And I have no patience for it. It's not cute. It's childish and a waste of good camera time. And is she paying Lenny Hazard pay for touching her feet?
Lenny's doing this for a house too, in my opinion.
Anywho, this is where the presentations start. Um, Matlock rolls up in with Glenn's old suit from 1972 and puts Whitney's ass in contempt of court while he's giving his presentation for Denmark. That's where he wants to go.
Hmm.
Then Whitney gets up and puts on her clothes, and Lenny's with her too. He puts on that costume, and she nearly breaks this man's back trying to ride him. Now, this is where it's not fair. You get on his back while he's in a prone position saying and picking your feet up so all 300 pounds are on his lower back. And
Right.
you know he ain't nothing but this big. And then gonna turn around in her confessional. Well, I don't understand. When I was 385 pounds, I was riding him every day. Girl, you was riding his fronts, and that's the only way that he could get his penis anywhere near your pussy so that you could get fucked when the day come. Because God knows he couldn't get on top of you in a missionary position. The fuck you talking about? And that was TMI because I didn't need to hear or visualize or see any of that bullshit with you, somebody spreading your legs and fucking you or you riding a pole. I just did not need that. TLC, do better.
I knew you was gonna be mad about that. I'm like, yeah, Debbie didn't need that. I was just like, okay, I guess maybe.
There's a lot of things that I need in my life, and visualizing Whitney getting fucked is not one of them.
And I'm gonna say it like this. Whitney, you opened this door, so I'm not gonna feel bad by saying what I'm gonna say. But when you were dating Lenny, wasn't he an active addiction?
Uh huh.
Okay, case closed. I think I win, right? I
Yep.
win.
Yes,
Okay.
counselor. Yes.
Thank you.
We rule in your favor.
Thank you.
Court
I'm just
adjourned.
saying that's not that like when she said that I'm like Whitney, that's not a flex. That's not a
Mm-hmm.
flex. That's not a flex. Stop.
And then when she finished her presentation, she leading him around by a leash like it's some fetish like this. I sat there and I watched that and I was like, give me Jasmine. Can you imagine me saying, "Give me Jasmine"? I'd rather watch Jasmine do her fetish portion of her OnlyFans than watch Whitney. And then get back on his back again to get out. And when she fell, did she put a dent in the floor? Oh my God. Hazard pay for this man. I just can't.
That's gotta be.
You're
I'm
fired for
sorry.
making me visualize. I'm sorry.
I mean, Lenny, I really hope you're saving up for a house, and I hope the check is real good because she has been clearly embarrassed you out here like this, rubbing her feet. I need to see. Hold on, let me look up North Carolina HR policies. I just need to know, is it kosher for the owner of a business to have their subordinate rubbing their feet?
Or in the bed with them.
Well, that too.
Because let's go all the way back. Last season, where he was up in the bed with her and Glenn walked in on him. I just can't with her. She's just like, this show used to be entertaining, y'all. When I first started watching this show used to be entertaining. And I just can't with her bullshit anymore. It's gross.
So Lenny committed a crime because, like, he's massaging Whitney's feet and he's not licensed. Jail time.
But we can't punish Lenny. We need to punish her. He's already like has back issues. It's not fair. I think he's been forced. We can acquit. No jail time. We could put him on an ankle bracelet for 6 months. House arrest.
I'm just saying.
Yes, undercover dung. I miss Babs. I miss Babs because I think she would have put a stop to a lot of this because it's just not proper. It's just not proper. This is just an offense on so many different levels. So anyway, after all of those shenanigans, we find out that Whitney wants to go to Morocco. And Hunter had a good point. If you cannot be in temperatures over 65 degrees Fahrenheit, how the fuck you want to go to the desert? Is she missing that part?
Yes. She might, you know what, Whitney, she might think Morocco's climate controlled. So, just saying.
She need to watch all of the 90 Day Fiancés exploits in Morocco and to realize no, it's not. But anyway, girl, I was with Hunter. Uh, that's a big fat no. Glenn thanks them both for their presentations and tells them we are going to Switzerland because I want to see a die cast, a die cutter. As an ode to his 50 plus years in the printing industry, he wants to go and see a piece of equipment that helps in printing. And neither one of the two of these freeloading bitches can believe it, but you're still going to go on the trip because I know I
Because it's
would.
free.
Uh-huh. And she's like, "Oh my God, we don't have any time to spare because I'm going to put together a binder and plan the rest of the trip around going to see the die cutter." As if anybody asked her to, but okay.
Right.
Ah. She was saying 17 Celsius is too hot. Which child, I lived in 26 to 30 degrees Celsius for a portion of my life. She'd be miserable. But then again, I was near the equator.
Right.
You
I'm like,
you know all my time that I spent back home in the second phase of my life. I never got used to Celsius. I never knew what temperature it was. I knew like 28 to 30 was hot.
mm-hmm.
But don't ask me what it is in Fahrenheit.
Right.
I did not know the temperature until I came back stateside. And that was like about 8, 9 years.
I believe it.
I was the worst at metrics. I really was. At the metric system. It was hard for me, even though it should be easy, but it wasn't. Anywho, um, I, child, that's what I kind of figured because I remember 30 was hot. But 17, anyway, girl, she's a mess. Um, let's see. Anything else happen in this episode? Like I said, I just feel she's gonna ruin Switzerland for me.
Oh, for sure. Uh, I put Whitney's money on the fact that Glenn is not going to get to see that die cutter.
They have to let Glenn see the die cutter. It's his trip.
Right, and it's Whitney.
No, then I would boycott the show. The man lost his wife. If he want to see a printer part, then let him go and sit down and look at it all damn day long. Like, and I also took offense. All right, this is just me, and I take offense to this show a lot. But like when she went and to the cemetery after him, and then she was saying, my dad's grieving just isn't lessening or something like that. Whitney, you cannot orchestrate or like everybody's grief is different. Everyone goes through a
Right,
different process. And I feel like she's trying to manage this man's grief. And it felt like it was coming over like to me, why aren't you over this yet? But he was with that woman for most of his life before you. Like I just thought it was just inconsiderate and not
Mhm.
sensitive. Like, whatever. Welcome to Platteville. I hate this show. Welcome to Platteville. I That's like rubbing two pieces of cardboard together for me. I don't understand why people watch that show. And how Ethan and Olivia are still together, it makes no sense to me. He must got a big dick. That's about it. That's about it. And their dad looks really strange now. But okay. Anywho, anything else about the episode, Jamal, that stuck out to you?
Nah.
We gave this 30 more minutes than it should have had.
I
Um,
mean,
Natalie says, I worked with suppliers like Glenn, and they are so passionate about their work, including die cutting. Whitney is such an ass. Oh, she is. I'll agree with you on that, Natalie. She is. She is. But you know what? Glenn had to be passionate about his work.
mm-hmm.
Either that or he wanted to stay away from his family as much as possible, because he was in that industry for like 50 years. And if Babs had not gotten sick, he'd still be working.
Yeah,
He'd
he never
still
wanted
be
to.
working.
He never wanted to retire.
Mm-hmm. Bless his little heart. Hold on. They've split up now. I'm assuming that this is Ethan and Olivia.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, mazel tov to them too. Better luck next time. Jamal, any final thoughts?
No, we're good to go.
All right, y'all. Join us tomorrow. We're working on a surprise. Um, I'm not gonna say anything because I still have to watch. But join us tomorrow for sure. We're gonna go over 90-day last resort. Wah 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 wah. And 90-day the other way. Last Resort, I only watched the first hour and then lost interest. I don't give a fuck about what happened after they said their commitment ceremonies. So Jamal, you can have the honors of that. And once I realized it went over an hour, I was done.
Yep,
I
you
was
tuned out.
done. And I have to watch the other way because I did not see all of it. I wasn't paying attention. So I have to redo that. But join us tomorrow, y'all. Bring all your notes so we could talk about the rest of this TLC trash that we saw this week. All right, Jamal. Are we ready to end this train
Yeah,
wreck?
Yeah, I mean, like, this went longer than I expected.
Well, thanks to all the new subscribers. Thanks to the new members. We really appreciate you joining our tribe, and we look forward to chatting with you tomorrow. And like I said, look forward to a surprise for you guys. Um, is cocktails on tonight, Sunway? I'm not sure. To be very honest, I'm not sure.
Hey, Debbie,
Um,
my mom's calling. Give me 1 second.
okay.
Sorry.
I am not sure if cocktails is on tonight, but I'm sure that okay, so I don't have any notes from or messages from Heidi, but just check and see if if anything is posted. Just remember last week's was really late when she put up when she scheduled the show. Um, but I haven't heard otherwise. All right, y'all. Any questions until Jamal comes back, or do we want to end the show? Ouch, my back hurts. Let's just end the show. Let me put y'all out of y'all misery. Don't forget, bring your notes tomorrow. Last resort and the other way. For sure, we're gonna go over. Until next time.